Ooh, wow. I recently made root beer and I even tried my hand at making some homemade ginger ale. But one of the drinks that is one of my favorite drinks, I thought, why am I not trying to make this? So today, I want to make coffee. I love this stuff. I just love coffee. Now, I probably love coffee a little bit too much and probably have more coffee than what is recommended. We're not gonna get into that. That's a completely different video. But today, what we're gonna do is we're not gonna just brew our coffee. We're gonna roast our coffee. Now, roasting coffee is an art, it is a science. There's a lot that goes into actually roasting coffee. One of the things that we're gonna do today is just a basic, simple roast, not using any fancy equipment, just a cast iron skillet on top of a stovetop inside of the kitchen. This roast might not be perfect. It's a coffee experience like you can't imagine, and it's pretty incredible and pretty fulfilling to roast your own coffee. So let's give it a go. Let's start with this green guy and make some of our coffee. So like I said, we're not gonna need anything fancy to do this. You just need to select the coffee that you wanna use. What I'm using is a Nicaraguan 100% Arabica coffee. This is a 3-pound bag of single origin unroasted coffee beans. I got this off of Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below for my Amazon store where you can pick yours up and all of the tools needed to do this today. I definitely recommend picking up a laser thermometer if you don't have one. These are fairly cheap. You can pick one of these up for about 15 bucks. Now for this roast, I'm gonna use a cast iron skillet and a whisk. Now a few things before we get started, I definitely wanna say make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area. I've opened up some windows and have some fans going because this is going to create quite a bit of smoke. And I don't wanna set off any of your smoke alarms or fill your house with smoke. Let's see what we do. Let's heat up the pan, and I got it on about a medium heat. We're gonna get the pan up to about 430 degrees or so. I'm gonna make about a week's worth of coffee, so I'm gonna make about 400 grams of coffee. Now I'm only doing a week's worth and not doing this whole 3 pounds of coffee is because once coffee is roasted, it's only really fresh for about 10 days. Okay, so we have hit our mark. The pan's been heating up for about 10 minutes or so. I have my phone set with a stopwatch just so that way I can recreate this if I like this roast. I can recreate this to the money. So we're gonna pour our beans in, we have our whisk ready, and we are going to be constantly agitating these beans throughout this entire process, the entire process. You're not gonna wanna stop because if it stops, it's gonna burn one side of the bean and you don't want that. The reason why I'm not using a wooden spoon to turn these beans is because a whisk is going to turn them over in layers versus a wooden spoon, which is just going to have one layer of movement. So this first stage is gonna take just a little bit of time. Right now, the water in the bean is gonna be evaporating. I mean, how awesome is this? Right now in this stage, the bean almost smells pretty nutty. There's like a very nutty smell kind of coming off of these. Now, the higher the temperature that you roast your bean at, the more of that fruity flavor you're gonna get. The slower you roast your bean, the more that fruity flavor is gonna be dissolved. So depending on what type of roast you like, is the speed that you roast at. So we're about 7 minutes in, which has taken quite a bit longer than what I was thinking, but we're just now hitting the early yellow stage of the bean. You can see the bean going from green to yellow, and that's like one of the first stages of the bean here. So at this point, we're starting to see a little smoke coming off the pan. We are at the 20-minute mark. I don't know, maybe I'm doing this a little slow, but I'm gonna do a little bit more research because from what I was reading, I believed this was gonna happen just quite a bit quicker, but might have been the temperature that I chose to begin with. Okay, now we're getting some smoke and we're also getting the first crack. There's definitely a noticeable popping sound that's coming out of these beans here. Okay, so we're 30 minutes in. I really am gonna have to do a little bit more research to see what is going on because we're still noticeably in the first crack stage. And I know that different beans, different variations of beans will give you different levels of brew, but we are not fully done with this roast yet. I don't know if maybe I was doing too much agitating, which was allowing the bean to continually cool. I'm not really sure. Or if I filled my pan up too much. We're gonna have to do a little bit of testing for this. Now the cool thing is these beans actually expand in size. They actually grow about 25% of their original size, which is really neat. Definite crack stage for a lot of these beans. This has definitely taken quite a lot longer than what I was expecting. We're at 40 minutes and I believe we're not even near a French roast yet. I think this is, I don't know what's going on personally. I mean, at least at this point, it's starting to look like coffee. So I don't know if this is just because of this method, but I do believe we have a very uneven roast. We have some beans that are just on the very light stage of roasted, and then some beans where you can actually start to see some of the oils. And the oils mean that it's at pretty much almost a full French roast. It's very dark. So this is gonna be a very mixed blend coffee. I'm gonna pull them off the heat now and stop this roast. I have a baking sheet that I'm gonna use. It's just gonna help stop the roast and just kind of cool these guys down. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this. For this next step, I'm gonna take the beans outside because it's gonna get pretty messy. But I'm gonna use a wire mesh strainer and another bowl, and we're gonna transfer the two back and forth. And what that's gonna do is remove the shad that's on the outside of the bean that popped off and burnt off. Now, you don't have to get rid of all of it. Get rid of as much as you possibly can. It's not gonna affect the taste that much as long as you get rid of quite a bit. So at this point, we're gonna put our coffee into a sealed container. Okay, so these beans have been chilling. They're nice and cooled down. They're ready to get ground up. So I'm gonna ground them up. Now I have a blade grinder. It's just what I have. If you have a burr grinder, it's gonna be a better grind. You're gonna get a more even result, but this is gonna work fine. Now I'm also gonna do a pour over for my coffee just because I like pour overs. They're gonna be a little bit smoother. You're gonna get a lot of the flavors out of the coffee. So I plan on making about 6 cups of coffee in here. So I'm gonna do 36 grams of coffee beans. And to get an even grind out of a graded grinder, you're gonna shake it every now and then while you're grinding. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That's a pretty easy grind. Now we're gonna pour in 6 cups of almost boiling water. This is boiling water that was brought down a little bit. Gonna go in a small circular motion around all the coffee. Make sure all of the coffee is wet. Allow that to drip through. This is gonna kind of bloom the coffee a bit and then start pouring again. And that is it. I'm so excited about this. I just cannot wait for this. Okay, this is it, the Sauce Stash blend. There's not a lot of distinct aromas coming off of this. Now that might be because, again, my very long roasting time. Ooh. Wow, very nutty, very warm. Wow, oh my gosh. There is kind of some like chocolate tastes to it, but I'll say this is delicious. It's super smooth, no acidity at all, incredibly smooth coffee. I'm in love with this. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this. Well, that's what I got. This is the Sauce Stash Brew, the Sauce Stash Roast, home roasted, pan roasted coffee. Now there's a bunch of ways to do this. I would love to continue this journey of home roasting coffee. I have some more coffee beans, so let me know in the comments below if you want to see me try other methods. I was thinking about trying to see if I can roast coffee in an air fryer. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to try this one again. I can always roast some coffee, because dang, that is good. Gang, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. The people that are over here scrolling on the side, those are the people that are part of my Patreon. They helped me buy everything that I needed to make the video today. Thanks to all the people over at Patreon. You can join these names over at patreon.com/saucestash. Get your name on this list. Be a part of the Sauce Squad. Gang, please click the subscribe button and click this video right here. This is the video that YouTube thinks you'll like.